Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I'm going to talk about the trailer that came out a couple days ago for Cruella. If you haven't seen it already, I'll include a link to it in the description down below, but just wanted to take this video to kind of share some of my thoughts about it. I, looking at it, was kind of interested by the fact that this seems like a very dark trailer. I'm someone that has been interested in watching the, Disney like live action remakes, despite how most people feel about it. I'm still curious to check them out. I just haven't. But just tonally, it just seemed darker compared to most other ones. So I thought that was really interesting. What I also think is fascinating is because like a lot of people, at least I've seen this some places around the internet, is some people have called this like, Cruella parentheses Joker. So almost like people being like, oh, it definitely, looking at it, you're like, oh, I can definitely get a little bit of the Joker vibes. But I think it's so interesting because the other comparison people have been making is the Maleficent trailer. The Maleficent movie, sorry. About how it kind of paints her and like, oh, it's kind of a misunderstanding. She's not the bad guy people think she is. I don't feel like they're necessarily going down that route, this movie. I think it is a thing of understanding how she became who she becomes, but at the same time, I think it is just like, we're not trying to justify, we're just saying, at least in a vein of Joker, like maybe, I don't think they might not try to be as sympathetic maybe as Joker will try to be, make you feel about the character of the Joker. I think in this case it's just kind of like, yeah, these are the circumstances that led Cruella to be who she is, not trying to justify what she did later. I don't know. I'm curious to see how they'll ultimately handle it. The other thing I've heard people wonder is like, how does she come to hate Dalmatians as much as she does? I'm curious, does she have a negative association? Because we see Dalmatians in the movie and it's like, maybe she associates them with like this one particular, it seems like she has a particular adversary in the movie, and I think that adversary probably has Dalmatians, and that's what made her go like, you know what, screw Dalmatians forever, they're my number one enemy and nemesis. Because I don't remember Cruella's story that well, whether it be the animated movie from forever ago, as well as the live action 101 Dalmatian movies. I don't remember them as vividly, so I don't even remember like her justification, if she had any, for why she handled things the way she did. But I think it's interesting the approach they're taking with this movie, because it seems like obviously explaining like, it seems like it's kind of almost like a misfits kind of outsider story of just like, it seems like she was kind of scorned by at least society and just people, because she says, yes, I'm a little crazy, but like I'm gonna show people my genius. Because I think it's kind of a story of like, maybe she was rejected by higher society. Maybe it's like, maybe she actually comes from a higher society background but ended up kind of losing rank and money and position and stuff like that. Or maybe it's just just wanting to be accepted, but they won't, and so she wants to prove herself. Because at first I was wondering if there was going to be straight up magic in this story, because when the whole thing she does with the dress, burning it and revealing, but it's like, no, I think that was just her making a spectacle of like, oh, look at me now, like, don't I look fabulous and amazing? Like, it's also, I think, a story of, once again, not fitting in, but also kind of reinventing yourself, but a story of faking it till you make it. Because I think that's why she kind of does the criminal stuff we see later on. I'm thinking like she might start trying to like robbing banks and stuff like that, because maybe she doesn't have the fortune to put herself in the ranking of high society, but I think maybe she steals to, fake it. Maybe, I don't know. Well, just from a little bit we saw from the trailer, we see a lot of like getaway, potential guns firing type of situation, because it seems like we also see kind of the origins of how she met up with like the henchmen who are like, pet control or whatever. Like, we see kind of the beginnings of that. So it seems like an interesting take on the story. Like I said, it actually, kind of reminds me heavily of Once Upon a Time, like how and I think that's what they're kind of going for with some of these live action kind of remakes, is kind of doing like a Once Upon a Time. If you've never seen the show, which I really enjoy the show, I highly recommend. If you've never seen it, you should check it out, which obviously the show's also under the Disney umbrella as well, but it kind of remixes what you think about fairy tale as well as Disney characters. And Cruella actually popped up in the show. She didn't pop up a lot. She popped, I want to say like seasons 4 and 5 are the seasons she's popped up in. I could be mistaken, but yeah, I'm curious to see, because I think they dived into her background, but it's been so long, I actually don't remember what her whole deal was. I think they dived into it a little bit. I don't think it was a lot, kind of explaining how she became who she became. But I'm really interested in the story. Like I said, I find the comparisons that people are making, in particular the Joker comparison, really interesting. But even beside that, I just think it's kind of like I said, it just seems like a darker, interesting take, and trying to like dive into this character you wouldn't think you'd want to know more about, but you'd like to understand like who she is and how she became, who she became. So obviously, like I said, these are just my thoughts and kind of what's going through my mind. I'd love to get to know your thoughts about the trailer. What'd you think? Did you like it? Did you not? Are there things in this that interested you? Like, okay, like I'm more interested to check this out, because I know, like I said, a lot of people flip-flop about these live action remakes. Some people like some, might not like others. I'd love to know your thoughts. Like, what would you want from this movie? What are some things you expect to see? Just let me know all your thoughts in general. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.